Demonize Kyo here. So we're going to be starting episode 10 of the Bingo Book series. And I know I said we would be doing Ten Tails, Jin Cherokee, Obito, Uchiha, but we're actually going to be doing Allied Shinobi Forces Commander Gaara. So aka V2 Gaara, aka Wara. I figure with the attack league reset, you know, there are going to be a lot of new players who are kind of like running into these OP Gaaras and just like, how do I handle him? So today we're going to be focusing on that. So we're gonna actually, if you're unfamiliar with this series, what we're gonna look at is we're gonna look at his jutsus, their effects, how to iframe them, their loadout orders, stuff like that. So we're pretty much just gonna talk about how to fight Gaara in a 1v1 fight and still come out on top. So first we're gonna look at his jutsus. So here's Gaara. I do have him equipped with tools for a reason. I'm not gonna get into that right now. But first we'll start with his ultimate. So you'll see here we have Giant Layered Sand Burial. At level 1 this has a 60-second cooldown. You can tell by the dark blue / purple icon here. This is an Annihilation type jutsu, and this is going to deal a massive amount of damage. It's also worth noting that this jutsu is multi-hit. When I say multi-hit, it's not like, it's only 2 hits. There's the initial hit and then there's a secondary hit. But this does also inflict a huge seal effect. So you'll see here, that seal effect lasts for 20 seconds. You can tell by that icon right there. That's the steel icon. This is one of those ultimates that does benefit from leveling it up. You'll see, like I said prior, at level 1 this has a 60-second cooldown and it costs 400 CP. But as you level up, both the CD and the CP cost goes down. You'll see ultimately at level 8 it has a 53-second cooldown and a 333 CP cost. So if you can, it's definitely worth leveling it up. Next, we have his Sand Tomb. At level 6, it has a 5-second cooldown. You can tell by the brown icon here, this is a manipulate type jutsu. So this is pretty much going to set up, it's a persistent effect jutsu. So when I say persistent, I mean essentially the effects last throughout the entire duration of the jutsu. If you run into it, you're going to get sealed. You're going to get hit with the evasion debuff. You're going to get hit with the slow debuff. That being said, it is a multi-hit jutsu. It decreases your evasion by a large effect, is going to inflict seal by a small effect, and it's going to hit you with the slow debuff for a large effect. It also deals increased damage to enemies who have been afflicted with darkness. If you check it by level, you'll see here we have that seal icon, and that's going to last for 8 seconds. Then we have the evasion debuff icon. You can tell by that feather right there, and that is going to debuff you by 85% evasion. That's going to last for 15 seconds. And then lastly, we have that slow debuff, and that's going to slow you by 70% for 11 seconds. It's kind of weird because I think this is kind of like the quicksand move, but they don't call it quicksand. They call the other one quicksand, which is more like a sandstorm. Getting into that, we have quicksand manipulation, which is not quicksand at all. At level 6, you have a 4-second cooldown. You can tell by the yellow icon here, this is an impact type jutsu. So this is also going to inflict darkness by a medium margin, or medium effect. Is also going to inflict damage over time, a small effect, and it raises the defense of all allies on that tile by a medium effect. If you check it by level, you can see the stats. You can tell by this eye icon right here, that's the darkness effect. It is going to decrease your evasion by about 50%, and your accuracy by about 50%, and it's going to last for 7 seconds. And then we have the damage over time icon here, and that's going to tick for 5% of your health for about 15 seconds, and those intervals are preset. It's also another multi-hit jutsu. It's also worth noting that this is an iframe. So while this jutsu is active, you cannot damage Gaara unless you have a piercing iframe attack or jutsu. Lastly, we have his Sand Prison Spear attack. At level 8, this has a 6-second cooldown. You can tell by the red icon up here. This is a lunge type jutsu. So this jutsu is going to set up another target in the form of a sand spear. So if you're too close to it and Gaara, there is a chance your targeting might get messed up and you end up targeting the sand spear instead of Gaara. This is a single hit jutsu. In addition to that, it is going to decrease your attack by a large margin. It is going to defense debuff you by a medium margin, and is also going to inflict damage over time by a medium effect. It also deals increased damage to enemies who have been hit with an evasion debuff. So you'll see right here we have the attack debuff icon. That's going to debuff your attack by 85% for 15 seconds. The damage over time icon, that's again going to tick for 5% of your health for 21 seconds. And then we have the defense debuff icon, and that's going to debuff your defense for 75% for 11 seconds. It's also, worth mentioning that Gaara's kit is extremely synergistic. That means every time you're hit by one of those jutsus, usually the next one is going to follow up as far as, either slowing you, making sure you can't evade, or is going to deal increased damage based off prior effects of other jutsus. That being said, Gaara is not difficult to fight. He has a very simple attack pattern. However, he's very unforgiving in the sense that if you get hit by Gaara, you're pretty much going to get caught in his loop, and that's going to eventually lead to your deaths. We'll also talk about his loadout order. So you see here we have his Sand Tomb in the first slot. All of Gaara's jutsus are range 1 attacks, so it is going to be dependent based on the loadout order you put the jutsus in. This is my optimal loadout order, I think. That being said, let's get into it. For this Bingo Book series, I will actually be using EMS. If you're unfamiliar, I'll be doing 2 close range and 2 long range examples, or 2 long range and 2 close range examples, and then we'll use a loadout order switch to kind of emphasize how his jutsu order attack changes. So we'll start with the 2 long range and 2 close range. So we'll just spawn him. Like I said, Gaara is actually very unforgiving, so I'm not going to give him a lot of chances to hit me with things. But as you saw, he did try to sand hell me. So that was long range pattern number 1. I'm going to see if I can bring him over, so we can actually see him follow up. He's so annoying. Alright, so there he is. He's spawned. I'm going to try to avoid this. I'm not going to be able to, so I'm actually just going to see. I wasn't able to get the paralyzed either. So this is what I mean when I say he's unforgiving. And essentially now I'm stuck in this loop. And I'm pretty much going to die now. Yep, there it is. So now we'll do his close range pattern. Again, his Sand Tomb has a persistent effect, and actually the jutsu lasts for about 2 to 3 seconds. There's no way to iframe that unless you have a character with a long iframe, aka Conan or Danzo. So I'm going to actually enter in with my rage, as you saw, try to hope for a paralyze. And so yeah, Gaara is not someone I recommend running up on. I'm just kind of doing this to illustrate his pattern. In normal circumstances, I would not run up on Gaara like this unless I was going to use my ultimate. So I'm going to quickly attack debuff, and I'm going to try to hit him as soon as possible with his paralyze. So I actually lucked up there. I'm not gonna let him kill me. So those are 2 close range, 2 long range. We're going to do a load order switch to kind of emphasize how his loadout order changes. It is also worth noting that previously I've kind of commented on all the how defenders will cycle through all of their jutsus if they're within range. However, Gaara seems to be an exception to that. There are certain cases where he will only use the first 2 jutsus in his slot. So we got hit by that. I'm not... Alright, so that's the close range. We're going to try long range now. I mean, long range. No, now we're going to try close range. Again, he'll start with quicksand, and then he'll do the Sand Tomb. We might not always see Sand Spear because, as I was saying, he sometimes only defaults to the first ones. Alright, so now we'll do one more loadout order switch, and then we'll talk about his jutsus more in depth. So now we'll put Sand Spear first, and we'll do Quicksand Manipulation and Sand Tomb. Because he will sometimes only cycle through 2 of his jutsus, I would never put Sand Tomb in the last slot. Essentially, like, his Seal and Slow are kind of like the bread and butter of his kit. The defense debuff works really well, the darkness works really well, but essentially how he locks you down is by sealing you. So I would never put that in the 3rd slot, just in case. So we should see the Sand Spear. Again, I'm just going to run up and try to paralyze him. Man, he didn't do that, so we're going to wait. Because actually kind of one of like the easier loadout orders. So there goes the Sand Spear. We should see that Quicksand Manipulation. If I can get away far enough, I'll start Sand Spear again, but I didn't. Alright, so that was our long range example. We're going to do our close range now. Because I know he's doing Sand Spear, again, I'm just going to kind of run up on him and try to paralyze. I'm going to quickly attack buff right here. So that's what I mean when I say it can mess up your targeting. Alright, so that was those were our examples. As you can see, his loadout order does affect how he does those jutsus. So we're now going to put our fence up, and we're going to talk more in depth about those jutsus. Alright, because I'm going to end up changing this base around anyway. I also want to say, like, whenever you can, you should be using your ultimate on Gaara. You never want to actually, like, sit there and just be like, fight him man to man. It's just not worth it. So like I was saying, so all of his jutsus are range 1 attacks. That being said, he will use all of his jutsus through walls. So we'll kind of like quickly see if we can get his attention here. Alright, so you see he did the Sand Spear, he did the Quicksand, and we should get that pull soon. And so like this is what I was talking about when I said usually like sometimes he will only cycle through the first 2 of his jutsus. So for this reason, I would never start with Sand Tomb in the 3rd slot. So we're gonna bring him up here. So there goes the Spear again. There goes Ultimate from DOT. So we're going to change this loadout order really quick. Where is he? There he is. So for me, like this is optimal loadout. So, we'll start with his Sand Tomb. Like I said, he does do that through the wall. You'll see right there. It doesn't matter if you kind of take that damage or not. Even if you iframe the damage, the pull effect will still seal, slow, and evasion debuff you. So the idea is you kind of want to get away from that as quickly as possible. It deals 2 hits. And then we have his Sandstorm, which also is a multi-hit jutsu. You'll notice that he pretty much excels at mid to close range combat, so you always kind of want to attack him outside of his range. We're gonna kind of showcase that that Sand Tomb dodge. So the range is about 5 tiles, so it's about from here. That's when he starts it. Same thing with his Quicksand. That's also about 5 tiles. So you always kind of want to be aware of how far away you are from him. We'll also kind of like showcase the iframe. So you see I iframe it, but the whole jutsu lasts for about 2 seconds, so it's almost impossible to iframe it with quick ones. You'll need to be using someone like Danzo or Conan to completely iframe his Sand Tomb. So you'll also see like it sets up the targeting. It's also worth noting that his sand spear will stay on the it will stay on the field for about 15 seconds. After 15 seconds, it does expire. But I don't want this to drag on too long because there's only 4 jutsus to go over. So we're going to talk about his ultimate. So to do that, we're going to take off everything except for that. As I said before, this is a 2-hit ultimate. The first hit will hit everything in front of him. The last hit will hit the full tile. So when you're kind of trying to avoid that, it won't matter where you are on the map. It is a range 3 from the front, and then the second hit is full tile. So we're just gonna run over here, and I should still get hit regardless of you know exactly what happens. See, so there it is, and then the second hit. To kind of showcase this, we're gonna break down the barrier. And it's worth also noting the second hit is the primary damage effect comes into play. So you can iframe the first hit, but you'll still probably end up dead from the second hit unless you have significant annihilation resistances. So we got him paralyzed. We're gonna come right here. Oops. It's kind of. I also want to say that his ultimate comes out very fast. It's almost to the point where it's almost kind of guessing when it's going to happen. So you'll see, like, we have him on low health. Yeah, see, as soon as the blue comes up, his ultimate comes up. I'm actually going to switch to RS Sasuke. I will kind of showcase the iframe with him. Alright, so we're going to try to give this like 3 more chances. I would like to showcase like the full evasion iframe, but if that doesn't work out, we'll just get into the multi-character showcase. So there goes that. And that's pretty much how you evade his iframe completely. As you can see, I teleported behind him to evade the first hit, and then I evaded the full tile by using my actual iframe with RS. So we're going to get into the multi-character showcase now. I'm going to take down our fence. I'll be using a wide array of characters this time, just to kind of like drive home the point about how dangerous but simple his combos are. We will be starting with EMS, of course. Where is he? We'll be using his optimal setup that I believe he has, which is Sand Tomb, Spear Attack, and oh, we didn't even talk about the evasion. So hopefully we'll see like if I can run out of the effect of his Sand Tomb, but you do need quite a bit of space for that, so it's worth noting that you definitely want to set off most of the traps in the tile before trying to do that. Yeah, so EMS is easy. So we're going to switch now to Ashura. And Ashura is like completely underrated. Like this is his. He will literally just beat someone's ass just like this. You don't really have to do anything else except 2-hit and then Tetra Claw, and that's it. Yeah, that's so Ashura's pretty easy. Now we'll skip KLM and Hinata. Hinata just doesn't deal enough damage against Gaara for this one. But we'll try V2 Sasuke. Alright, gotta win for V2. Next we'll try Neji, of course. Can't have a bingo book without Neji making some type of appearance. For this one, it's probably going to rely on if I can hit him with Mountain Crusher and seal him. And there it is. This is not good. Okay, so we got a win for Neji. So far we're doing pretty good. Like I said, they're gonna try V2 Itachi. As long as you're careful and you approach him the right way, you can 9 times out of 10 attack him outside of his range and then end up doing very, very well. So we got the iframe that time, which is unfortunate. And this looks like it's gonna be GG. I was not able to Yep, so we could not take him with V2 Itachi, which is unfortunate. Next we will go with, we'll use Rain. So it's worth noting, again, like it's primarily going to be me trying to attack him outside of his range. Oh shit. So we're gonna ult. I'm not messing around with these ultimates. Alright, so we got a win for Rin. We'll now move on to Indra. So we're gonna do quite a bit. We might do like at least, I think 4 more, and then we'll call it a wrap. So it's going to be difficult because this time I'm actually going to have to bait it out, so like that. So one for Indra. We're actually doing pretty well. We can do Hashi. Like I said, the main thing is going to be attacking him outside of his range. So I think we'll only do like 3 more. We'll do Darwi, we'll do 7th Hokage. Actually, we'll do 4 more. We'll do Darui, we will do Tobirama, we'll do 7th Hokage, and then we'll do Orochimaru. And then that'll be the end of the video. Alright, so Dari was a win as well. We will now go to 7th Hokage. So this is going to be a little bit more difficult because he does not really have much CC except for knockdowns. So we're going to hopefully see if we can't attack him from outside of his range with clones. And I fucked up already. So yeah, that's going to be GG. If I kept my distance, I might have been able to take him if I spawned with the up every time he got up. Alright, so now we'll go on to Tobirama. Okay, in my opinion, Tobirama is probably one of the most underrated mains in, I wouldn't say in the entire game, but Tobirama is very, 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 very good. For him, I don't even have to do a long range pound. I can just roll up on him and fly in Rajan, which I missed. Okay, we're not going to count that one. We're going to do one more because I completely missed. I don't know why I hit the button, but it didn't work. But Tobirama is a monster. We'll just say that. Tobirama is a monster. So that's good for Tobirama. We'll do Orochimaru, and then we'll call it a wrap. So we weren't able to confuse him, so this is going to be bad. Yeah, so Orochimaru, no win for Orochimaru, unfortunately. But I think we were like 7-3. So that is it for bingo book number 10. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave a comment. I think I'm going to try to do another bingo book before surprise attack missions. I'm actually going to be changing how I do my bingo books. Prior to this, I was kind of waiting for Samurai kits, but it seems like Bandai has changed how they're doing all of this now. So as soon as I pull a full kit for a character, level their jutsus up to level 8, except for the ultimate, I will now be doing bingo books on characters. So I'll probably end up doing one on Edo Itachi. Yeah, so I don't know if I'll do Edo Itachi, Minato, or Ten Tails Jinchuriki Obito next. But it's going to be one of those 4. I'll try to do it up before Sam, but I'm going to be dropping a couple more videos before that. So if you like this kind of content, please subscribe, please like. If you have any questions, drop them down below. I hope everyone's staying safe. There's a global pandemic going on, even though it seems to be winding down, and now we have an uprising. So things are looking pretty fun for the state of the world. Anyway, I'll catch everyone later. Demon Eyes Kyo out. Peace.